Welcome back to Talent 101, and it's time to talk about frame traps like the classic LFS 1 into F1+2, and the fact that you can now do it in RFS. Amazing. So the first frame trap we're going to look at is, of course, what I mentioned earlier, LFS 1 into F1+2 or RFS 2 into F1+2. Now, what makes this frame trap really good? The fact is that it's +5, and if the opponent does decide to challenge, let's say they challenge with the DF1, if you get this to connect, you get a free heat engager. You didn't connect there, but it'll connect over here, just like so, and you get 37 damage, you recover your health, and then, you can go straight for a mix-up. Of course, that's on hit. If it's on block, it's the same dice. If they do a challenge that's slower than 10 frames, you win. And you don't have to worry about a lot because this does track pretty much almost everywhere. So, again, this is against sidestep left. That's good. Change this to sidestep right. You're good. Change this to sidewalk left. I believe this is the only one you lose to. Yeah, the only one you lose to. And then sidewalk right. Just like so. So that applies for both LFS 1 and RFS 2. So whether you're doing it from left foot forward or you're doing it from right foot forward. Now, the important thing to note is that if they do trade with you, so if they do, let's say, a 10-frame jab, because again, the situation is +5, F1+2 comes out at 15 frames, 15 minus 5 is 10, you'll not get anything. So if I try to press DF3 +4 here, it doesn't even reach and they can block it already. And at that point, Hwoarang goes -14. But you are +14. So at that point, don't think about like surviving. Go in already. So if you see the trade, go in. Because they're not avoiding this FF3. They gotta take a +6 mix-up now. And if not like an FF3, you can do like a dash DF2, again, dash DF4, like anything, pretty much anything under the sun, for as long as it does catch this kind of space, because there is a good amount of distance between you and your opponent. Again, if you do the button, it's gonna whiff. So moves that advance Hwoarang forward, or if you advance Hwoarang forward with a dash, that'll help. Now, if they do use a powercrush, you will lose. Just like that, punishment indicator went up for player 2. So there's no way to avoid this, even if you do it from right foot forward or right flamingo. So the only way to avoid this is to start using a safer option. So if F1+2 fails because of their challenge, and they're not doing like a 10-frame jab or a 10-frame down jab, then at that point, that's when you do DF1. Because if you do DF1, number one, you're safe. And you can punish this power crush on reaction. I say on reaction if you are used to it, when you see the freeze screen, and then you can like crouch cancel back 3. I did while standing 2-3 earlier. And you can also do the strongest punish for Hwoarang, which is up 3. Like so. However, if they do use a Rage Art, you will lose. So the DF1 loses, F1+2 loses. So the moment they do have Rage, you can just like hang back, wait for it, and then you get a free punish. That's the only time you have to really change up your timing, once the opponent has Rage. But like for most of the match, you can just straight up always go for DF1. You get frame advantage on the mid power crush. And if not that, you can just go straight for F1+2. And then if it trades, you take your frames. And then if it doesn't, and you win, well, say hello to damage. That's the first basic frame trap for Hwoarang. The second frame trap we need to cover is a classic. Down 3-4 into RFS DF4, or LFS 3-4 into RFS DF4. I know that was an RFS DF4. This one is RFS DF4. So why this option? Because again, if you do down 3-4, you're +14, 17 minus 14. Well, you come out 3 frames. And then this is +8. And it's gonna come out pretty fast for the most part. So not a lot of options do beat you here. So again, if you just bring it back to, or well, not the power crush, a basic challenge, let's say like a 10-frame jab. But yeah, again, if they do press any button, they lose. And that's a full counter hit launch for you. And that's pretty big damage. Fantastic reward. Same thing if they do it off LFS. If you do it off LFS 3-4, yeah, full counter hit and you get a free combo. Now, that is if they do a regular challenge, like DF1. If they change it off to like a down jab, you should still win. For as long as, again, down 3-4 is on hit, because since version 1.5, if this does get blocked, it's going to be launch punished by 16-frame moves. But LFS 3-4, whether that's blocked or on hit, you're fine. Like, this should always just pretty much go in. Now, if they do use a power crush, that's when you can potentially lose. So if I down 3-4 into... Or rather, if I do LFS 3-4, not down 3-4, and they power crush, that's when you lose. So this is the situation on block. If they do block the second kick also for down 3-4, because that's +8, you won't win here. So the only option you need to remember is that if they do a power crush, then at that point you RFS 1. Because if you do RFS 1, it's also a mid. And just like DF1 earlier for LFS 1, you will pretty much remain safe and you can still punish them for their power crush. If it's a high power crush. If it is a mid power crush, then at that point, all you're doing is taking your frame advantage in that scenario. Like so. Now, if they do use a backswing blow, I don't have it recorded here because I don't think Elisa has one. You will lose, but the only time, if you are in that situation where they do a backswing blow, your answer is to use Flying Eagle. So that's like a couple of characters in the cast, mainly Azucena, Feng, Kazuya, you know, those characters. Then at that point, you can substitute RFS 1 for like RFS 3 slide 4. But generally, like, you can just stay safe with RFS DF4 and RFS 1. Now, if they do use a Rage Art, and of course it's on hit, it won't activate. You'll get the hit and you'll be on your way. However, if it is on block, there is a chance that you can lose. Yeah, like so. Same thing should apply to RFS 1. Again, just like LFS 1 into F1+2 or RFS 2 into F1+2, this is where you have to like change up your timing. Well, not timing, more like change up your option. So you're gonna have to add another option. That's RFS F4. So this is really just to prevent Rage Arts. So if the opponent is in Rage, you hit them with RFS F4. For as long as like this is on block. But if it's on hit, well, you don't have to worry about it at all. That's the second frame trap. Let's talk about the last one for basic frame traps. And that's going to be CD3 into LFS 1. So it looks something like this. Very simple. +4 into your 13 frame high. So at that point, you have like 1 frame of leeway. If your opponent does decide to challenge with a basic jab, you win. Now, of course, if they do a down jab, then that's when you lose. Then at that point, that's when you respond with DF3. And DF3 will cover you for like most challenges. Of course, if it's a slower challenge that isn't 10 frames and it doesn't high crush, LFS 1 is something you can like always stick to every single time if you want to like press a button here. But you can use DF3 as well, like so. Now, if they do use a power crush and you power crush as well, since Hwoarang's is a 2-hitting power crush, you will outlast them and beat them straight up. The same thing with the second power crush, or not the same thing with the second power crush. Yeah, so it's a risk against like a mid power crush, but a high power crush you're fine. But then at that point, that's when LFS 1 will keep you safe. The same thing here, if you do the high power crush, LFS 1, you're fine. And of course, you can potentially punish the move. Now, this move does have no tracking, so if the opponent does decide to sidestep in this situation, you will lose, and they can potentially whiff punish you. But since the move does recover really, really fast, it may go over their head because it's just like, oh, the jab whiffed already. So even if they sidestep to any side or sidewalk to any side, it's just like, I'm not ready. There's a chance that they cannot be ready. Then again, if they do sidestep into a challenge, DF3 to cover for sidestep right. Not sidewalk right, just sidestep right. And then if they are sidestepping towards the left, LFS back 4-3. So that's 3 frame trap samples at the basic level. That's all the cheese I have for today. And I've been Frontier, and thank you for watching.